Your Majesty at your service. Welcome to Fair Queen Talks. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of my podcast. Give it your all. At the beginning of this year, I enrolled on a complimentary beauty course. I thought it was an amazing idea to enroll myself to a 12-week course where I get weekly classes and learn things about things that I love, like massages, facials, and, all the works. I never really appreciated the theory behind it, and I thought it'd be something interesting to do while I am, staying at home during the pandemic. So why not? As you can imagine, I started off great. Whenever you start a new course, it's so much thrill, excitement, and everything was going well. As the weeks progressed and other things were going on, I didn't give it my all and was simply coasting along, just doing the bare minimum, to the point where my family were asking me whether I was still doing the course. So to my surprise, today I got some mail that didn't look like a bill through the post. And I love I enjoy just receiving mail that doesn't look like a bill. So I opened it and I quickly realized there were 2 qualifications there for me. And I was just so happy. And when I looked at the grade, it truly reflected my level of input. And the most important thing is that I passed. And it shows that I did do some work, but perhaps I didn't do the best that I could have done. I say all this because I don't want you or myself to just get by, coast along, and do the bare minimum with things that we initially want to commit to. I want us to excel in all the things that we commit to, relationships, career, or goals, just anything that we commit to. I want you, and also note to myself, to give it your all. On this episode, I want to talk about the importance of giving the things we commit to our all. I want you to take this message with caution because giving your all is all, dependable on our circumstances. When we give our all, we can be satisfied with our performance and know that we've done the best we could within our means. I love me some quotes, and the first quote I will share with you today is the following. In life, you have 3 choices: to give up, to give in, or give it your all. So I'm going to do a bit of unpacking here to give you an idea of what I think about this quote. So the first part. When we give up, it is a sign that we have lost hope in whatever or whoever. We see no sign of progress and we let go. Some things in life we need to give up, like bad attitude, bad habits, and general negativity. Things that take away or chip away any positivity or peace in your life are things that are best left behind. So giving up on things that aren't good for you is not a bad idea. The part 2 then, giving in. When we give in, we settle for the situation or circumstance we have been put in. We stop fighting and challenging for things that we want and compromise. There is a level of submission in giving in that can impact our future behavior. Sometimes we have to give in if it's for the greater good. For example, when I had a friend intervention about my bad habit with junk food, I had to give in and accept that it was a bad habit and I needed to get my life together and change. But, for example, in a situation regarding injustice, we need to really consider whether giving in is the best option. Because when we do give in and stop challenging the status quo, nothing changes or progresses. So when we give in, we need to be aware of what we're about to lose or compromise on. And lastly, giving it your all. So what is it all about? Giving it your all for me is doing everything within your power and your set of circumstances. You can have a level of consciousness that you have done your personal best, and that is the best feeling ever. So why is it important? I think it's important because We get judged for everything that we do by our peers, but most importantly, by ourselves. When you are a goal driven person or a self aware, you tend to reflect on all of your actions. Within those reflections, you'll be analyzing your every move and seek to understand it. Because of my level of self awareness, I'm in a position where I can explain my actions to myself. It is not about justifying your actions, but to understand the rationale. When we judge ourselves for our actions and know deep in our hearts that we could have done better, we would have wished we did. So, giving it your all is really about doing the best that we can with our situation. So that when we look back and, there are some things that we may not be so proud of, we can say, okay, that wasn't my proudest moment, but I can accept it for what it was at that time. Like my early example, I know in my heart of heart that my grade for my beauty course was a reflection of my performance. And I'm not crying about it, my results. I'm actually very happy that I actually passed, given the multiple things that I had going on. Yes, in theory, things could have got a lot better, but in reality, doing a course during lockdown with a family, job, hobbies, it means you're fully scheduled. So to pass was a success for me. Now I want to talk about giving your all in 3 different contexts. 1, relationships. 2, career. And 3, your goals. So the second quote for today is a quote that I think applies to all 3. So here it is. If you're giving your all to someone or something and it is not enough, then you're giving it to the wrong person. So in terms of relationships, in any relationship, whether it's platonic or romantic, if giving your all is not enough for the other person, I would ask you to ask that person what they expect from you. And if you can't meet that expectation, it may be time to review that relationship. If your all is not appreciated or valued by the individual that you value, you need to reconsider how they view you. Whether you have given your all in any relationship, if you find that it is breaking down or ending, you will at least be able to exit the relationship knowing you've done the best that you could have done. I remember speaking to a woman who was in a toxic marriage for 25 years and was advised to stay in that marriage for 24 years by her peers. On the 25th year of her marriage, a peer told her, "No one can say to you that you didn't try and give it your all." This sentence that the person gave to her gave her the confidence to leave her toxic relationship, and now she is living her best life without the stress. Giving it your all can justify in your mind reasons to make big decisions in your life, like a divorce. Career. In the same way that you want to be valued in your relationships, being valued in the workplace is also important. In the workplace, your performance is always reviewed. And if you're like me and have appraisals or targets, you know exactly what I mean. As much as your workplace professes to care about you and your well-being, they care about their investment in you and want their returns through your output. When you go to any one-to-one meetings discussing your performance, you will have a higher level of confidence within yourself when you know you've given it your all. So whatever criticism they come up with, it won't sting or hurt you because you will have the ability to explain your actions and be accountable for it. This is what I want you to be able to do, to have confidence even when you're being scrutinized. That's a very, very powerful thing when that can happen to you. And lastly, goals. If you find yourself setting goals that don't stimulate your brain to give it your all, then you may need to review your goals. It is said that if you write your goals down, you are likely to achieve 40% of those goals. When you consider each goal that you've ever set in the past, which ones keep coming back every single year that you're not able to achieve and you just put it in there because that's something you would love to do? Perhaps that goal is too big, or it requires you to make a whole life change. Whatever it may be, if you cannot give it your all to your goals, it may not be yours to have. The things that you happily do are things that should be part of your goals. For example, producing this podcast, my radio talk show, volunteer with great organizations is something that I happily do and does not feel like a chore. So those things are reflected in my goals. On the flip side, if you do give your all to your goals and it doesn't seem to move forward or result in the change you want to see, you need to be honest within yourself and analyze what your all actually is, and perhaps search for help to reach those achievements or targets that you've set for yourself. I want you to remember that life is not a competition, and it's not about winning the race unless you're an athlete. But most importantly, even if you're an athlete, it is about achieving your personal best with the cards that life has dealt you with. Give everything that you're committed to your all so that you can live with a consciousness that won't come and haunt you. At the end of each episode, I address the queendom. Give it your all. Be accountable for your actions. Review your relationships and goals. Remember that it is your personal best within your circumstances. Thank you so much for listening to Fair Queen Talks. See you next time.